Hey, so for this video, I want to talk about what it was like growing up with a parent who was a narcissist. Now, if you would have asked me what I thought a narcissist was a couple years ago, I would have told you somebody who cares too much about the way they look, basically. Um, definitely not what I'm referring to. Um, So, scoot back a little bit. Last year, I turned 37, and I'm very much into numbers. And so, 3 plus 7 is 10. It was a 10 year. 10 comes down to 1. Add 1 to 0, you get 1. It's almost like the notch. You're just right there at the beginning of something brand new. Something completely is reset. So, that year, it was last year. I just turned 38. Um, that year was crazy, like in the sense of like the realizations that I had about things that happened to me in my life. I just thought maybe I just had a disconnected relationship with my mom. We just never got along. I never really thought too much about it. And, I meet a lot of people at my job, and I was working with this girl one day, and she started telling me about how she had a narcissistic parent. And I was like, what's that? And she made me go home and read about it, and my jaw hit the floor because it was my mother to the T, and it was scary. It was like someone knew who didn't know me or my life knew all of my mother's weird quirks and like personality things that were like, a little bit on the side, a little crazy or whatever. I didn't know it was a thing. It's a thing, and it's very damaging to people that have to live with a narcissist. So basically, what it is it's somebody who makes every situation about them. You can go to a family reunion, and that person always causes a scene or says something negative, has something to say about everything. Nothing is ever good enough. You'll never hear, like, I'm proud of you, I love you, I'm so grateful for you. Like, you'll never hear that. And there's a lot more to it. They also, like, are very manipulative. They'll throw things in your face. They'll gaslight, which is basically, taking the blame off of them and never taking blame and actually just putting it on someone else. Like, you're crazy. Like, no, this is how I remember it, and that's how it definitely was, and you're crazy. Like, they will literally make you feel crazy. Um, so I was like, oh my God, I immediately called my sister and was like, yo, I'm going to send you this. This is mommy to the T, dude. So it was crazy. Now, like thinking back of all the things, like all the situations, it was just very, your mother shouldn't be manipulative towards you. You expect that in life from shady people that you meet who don't really know you too well and don't want to see you do good. It's a weird thing. It's a very weird thing. But it's a sickness. It's something you have to go to like a therapist for, and they talk to you and help you change your ways. Not like a disease or anything, but it's just like, being a sociopath or something like that. It's in that lane. But she doesn't even know it. So it is what it is. And like I said, you have to forgive people. You have to see why. You have to try and understand where they were coming from when they treated you the way that they did. And my mom was mentally abused and physically from my grandmother. Now, I never saw that side of my grandmother. My grandmother loved us to death, and she was very, very good to us. But, they had a very different relationship. And when I got older, I can understand that. And I just don't feel like I'm the person, you know what I mean, to shake up somebody's life when they're like a certain way their entire life. Like, there's not going to be a huge change. And I accepted that. And I take everything with a grain of salt. Um, I don't let her in on my personal life, so she can't comment on it or throw anything in my face or anything like that. I just really tried to be the best person I could be, so there's no reason that anybody can find, you know what I mean, to make me into a bad person. And that's how I deal with it. But I'm all good now. It is what it is. I healed myself. I did my shadow work. I think in every video I'm going to talk about shadow work and numbers and tarot. You know, I'm always going to fall back to those things because those are the things that really helped me really wake up and smell the coffee. You know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, so it was hard, and I know there's a lot of people out there who went through the same thing, but you have to forgive, and you also have to look at yourself and how you reacted in situations when you were upset, and forgive yourself for that, and be a better person. You know, the best way to say you're sorry or to forgive someone or forgive yourself is to just do better and don't do those things again. Um, so yeah, I mean, there's this is what I want to circle back to now. I get sidetracked a lot, so it's hard for me to talk to one about one thing without going into another and actually staying on the subject. But anyway, I was working with this girl, so I ended up talking to her again, and she's like, "Yo, I've been seeing repeating numbers and all that," and I'm like, "Dude, you're waking up. I'm telling you, you're waking up." I was like, "Pay attention." And I still have a relationship with her, and I talk to her a lot. But I had asked her. You know, because she was saying about not remembering a lot of her childhood. And I don't remember like hardly any of my childhood. And I didn't even know till last year that that wasn't normal. Like, I think me and my boyfriend were watching, I think it's Zombieland. I want to say Zombieland. It was a zombie movie. And, you know, it ends with like, I think Emma Stone's in it. And they're talking about, you know, when I was 16, I did this. When I was 17, I did this. When I was 8, I did this. Like, I can't tell you what year I did things or have an extensive memory of everything. Like, I have things that stand out. And sometimes people would be like, yo, do you remember this? And then it's like, it emerges. But, like, I can't sit here and remember my childhood. So I don't know if it's because I felt traumatized when I was younger, so like I don't remember a lot, but my life wasn't that bad. It's not like I was like abused or anything. But so that was like another thing I found out about myself that I'm like, I have all this missing time, which is kind of creepy, but it is what it is. Maybe someday I'll find out about it. I don't think it's something I would want to go to a therapist for and like uncover memories. Like, I'm good. If it's meant to come out, it will, you know. So I learned that about myself this year. I also got really, really, really good at meditating and clearing my mind. And had this really, this is going to sound crazy. I had this really weird experience where my car radio started chirping. And I actually don't listen to my car radio anymore for this reason and just because I feel like people are always being marketed. So I don't like to listen to the radio because I don't want to hear, you know, your marketing scheme for whatever it is you're selling. I'm not trying to hear it. And also, like, when you wake up, you tend to be a lot quieter too. So like radio talk in the morning is just like jibber jabber and it's almost like you can't even take it. But anyway, my radio started chirping, like almost sounded like a grasshopper, and it started to get really annoying, like real bad annoying. And it was going on for a while to where like I would put my radio on in the morning on my way to work and then I would end up shutting it off because it was chirping. So it ends up I don't meditate very very often, but when I do, it's a good sesh. Trust me, I'm like really good at clearing my mind. So anyway, I go into meditation super quick this one night, and this portal opens up, and it's like purple and static inside. And then I'm actually going to go in the portal, and all of a sudden, a praying mantis man just like pops up in front of me, and I'm like, oh shit, dude, this is like the worst thing that can happen because I hate bugs. I hate bugs, dude. Not all of them, but there's that praying mantis would mess with my head. I'm from Philly, so cockroaches are like my thing, especially flying. I will lose my mind. Anyway, so he steps in front of the portal. I get like in meditation mode, not actually in my body, but I'm like, and when I did that, when I got scared, remember in the last video when I was saying like when I go to protect myself, I put the bubble up? Well, this wasn't a bubble. This was like jet fuel, like white and turquoise blue were like really, like if you ever been to Jamaica, like the color of their water, it was like that color, like all around me. It was like almost like he activated my Merkaba. If you don't know what that is, look it up, because you need to know what that is too. And he starts pacing around my bubble, like looking like he wants to get in my bubble, but like real tough, like what's up, like just walking around my bubble. And I was like, all right, let me just open my eyes. And sometimes, like when I really want to go in, I wear one of those sleeping masks, so it blocks out like all the light. And I felt like that thing was in the room with me, dude. I could have swore when I took that off, that thing was going to be in the room with me. Anyway, that kick started right after that. I started to get this like real heavy interest in alchemy, and like not actually like physical alchemy, like making potions and shit, which I think would be cool. One day I'm going to be moving soon, so when I get a nice big kitchen, I'll probably just like start messing around a little bit. But anyway, I started getting really interested in alchemy, which led me to mental alchemy, and then it was just like within like a month and a half or 2 months, it was just like boom, boom. Like I got this like huge download and this huge boost of like, I don't know, just cosmic goodness. Cosmic goodness is all I could say. And recently I just came across something really, really cool. And I'm still trying to like, number one, I'm still trying to process the information because it was something that blew my wig back. I was just like, damn. And number two is I'm trying to figure out a really good way to present it without there being any mistake, because there's a lot of math involved, because it involves Tesla, who is also amazing, and I'm learning a lot about him as well. But I wanted to talk about the whole narcissist thing because I saw something on a chat room where someone was like, is it a thing that like, maybe narcissistic parents turn their children into empaths? Because the reason being is like, you have to like assess the situation and see how that person is feeling, so you can walk on eggshells and like, or stay out of the way. Like you always have to test a room before you go in it, and test the energy. So that might have even been a huge factor with why I'm so strong empathically. Like, if you watched my last video, I said that that's the only thing I can really control as far as the sixth sense things. I've heard literal other people's thoughts in my head. That only happened about twice in my life, but when that does happen, it's really freaky. But it happens with my daughter a lot. My daughter, it happens with a lot, and I believe my daughter is like me a lot, if you know what I mean. Um, yeah, but besides happening with my daughter, it happened 2 other times with other people, and it's like, dude, did I just hear inside your head? Like, did that just happen? Um, I've had a lot of paranormal experiences, a lot of them. And it's funny because most of them were when I was a preteen. And if you look into that thing, that can be linked with, your energy when you're that age is very raw and powerful and untamed almost. It's just like shooting off. So if there is, an entity or something in your space and you have a preteen, that could affect some, a highly intuitive preteen, someone who's a little bit more, you know, able to access other realms. You're going to have lights going on and off. You're going to have things disappearing and reappearing. I actually saw something move in front of my face in a friend of mine's house when I was 17. I'll never forget it. Maybe I'll tell you the full story another time. I can tell you I can actually dedicate a whole entire video to stories about my paranormal experiences. But yeah, and I also hear a separate voice other than my intuition in my head. And that's kind of like my guardian, or maybe, I think it's like a couple of them, actually. A lot of times when I'm writing songs and like, I'm like right there, like I got a whole chorus down, or like I got almost a whole verse down except for like the last little bit. Like I'll ask my guides to hook me up, and usually they do. They come through. Asking the universe is it's like the most simple thing, and saying things out loud, and you get them in return. But it is a huge possibility that narcissistic parents turn their kids into empaths. Which when you grow up, it's a really powerful tool to have. I am an exceptional read of character. Um, there was this one time I met this guy, and we were seeing each other, and obviously we ended up in each other's bed. And every time I would like sleep with this guy, every time he was in my bed or I was in his bed, and I would wake up next to him, I would have a dream right before I woke up, like the one that's like right there before you wake up. It was always my last dream, where he's laying next to me and his face is black, like all blacked out. Like there's a body, he's sleeping like a normal person, whole face is blacked out. And I'm like, I don't really know who this dude is. He's he's not telling me the truth. Now, when I tell you I had no reason to believe this at the time, and I told him, and he got really, really freaked out. And I was like, you're not being honest with me. Like, what's going on? You're not telling me the truth about your life. And he fell back, dude, and he fell off. And I really didn't talk to him much after that, and we just stopped talking. He got really freaked out. I could see, I remember another time I was at a barbecue with my boyfriend and his best friend's family, and this little kid was there, and I was like, I told my boyfriend, something's wrong. Something's up with that kid. He seems like he hurts animals. I was like, I don't know why. I just get that off of him. And he was like, how did you know that? They've been having problems with that. And I was like, that's weird. So sometimes it's hard knowing that kind of stuff about people. You see some dark shit sometimes. And sometimes you wonder, like, if when you're people watching, the thoughts that are going on in your head about that person, if they're actually true, if it's their thoughts, if it's yours, if you're making it up. It gets to a point, and then I get super analytical, and then I just shut everything off. But, you can, once you find out that you had a parent like that and there's a name for it, and you can realize that they don't know that they're like that, it's easy to forgive them. It's easy to understand. And understanding something is the best way, to reconcile it and get over it. The whole awakening process is just about letting go of the darkness and the things that hold you down and the things that make you a lesser human being and, darken your potential. Gotta let it go. I hope everybody is, researching and reading and start getting into shadow work, because I think it's really hard for people, myself included, to really look at the things that aren't so awesome about yourself. You have to admit it. You have to bring it up. All those things that you did that are unspeakable. Everybody has secrets. And I'm not saying like shout it to the world, but you have to recognize, like I did that. That was really messed up. That was really messed up. Cry about it if you have to. Bring the emotion up and let it go. So I think that's all I have to say for today. Hopefully that was helpful to someone. If so, let's talk about it. And I will see you guys soon.